In this video, I'm going to talk about defining functions in GeoGebra. So, doing a quick and dirty function definition is pretty easy in GeoGebra using the input bar. So by that I mean, if we want to define a function, f, who takes x as an input, we can do f of x equals, and then we can give it the rule of the function. So my favorite function to use as an example is e raised to a power of sine of x. So this looks pretty close to what we would write on a piece of paper if we were talking about math. And so if we hit enter here, we've defined a function f, who's defined as e raised to a power of sine of x. By default, this function's graph is going to show in the graphics view. And like any other object, we can go in and we can actually style the function graph itself. So it acts kind of just like any other object in GeoGebra. Now another option for doing this, maybe we'll create a function called g. So we'll do g of x, and there's a GeoGebra function, not a math function, but a GeoGebra function that's called function. And one of the options here is we'll give it a function, we'll give it a start x value and an end x value. So we'll just do something simple like x squared, and then the starting x value will do -2, and then ending x value will do +2. So this function, the function in GeoGebra, or the function command, allows you to define a function but control the domain of the function. So if we hit enter here, we'll notice that in the algebra view it gives us the function definition, but then it tells us that our domain is restricted to -2 to 2. And we see that in the graph of g over here. So if you want to constrain the domain of the function, this is probably one of the commands you want to use. I'm going to go ahead and hide the function g, or the graph of the function g, and give one quick example that shows using sliders and functions together. Real quickly, I'm going to create a slider titled n using the slider function, and we'll go from -3 to 3 in pretty small increments. Now what we'll do is create a point named P, and I want this point P to be on the graph of f, and the x-coordinate of the point to be n. So the x-coordinate being n is pretty simple, we just do n. Now if we want this point to be on the graph, the output at n should be f of n. So if I do n comma f of n, this looks just like function notation in mathematics. We'll hit enter, and now we see that as we adjust the value of n, this point P stays on the graph of the function f. So pretty easy, pretty straightforward to use functions. Once you've defined a function, you can use that function in a lot of ways within GeoGebra.